Hi, everybody. Welcome to today, which is Friday. Good morning from Albania. I'm Saranda again. I wanted to come in here. I'm coming in a little bit later than I normally do because I was having a conversation with a very dear friend of mine, longtime friend in the States, and before this. And it just reinforced the message for today. So I wanted to bring that message, and I'm hoping um, the liveliness of the town will just stay quiet enough for me to get through this. It's intense out there, and I know this because I can feel it. Um, it's a different feeling for me now, and I'm there's a part of my ego is afraid it's going to go away, and then there's a part of me that's like, I wonder if this is the other side of the massive shifts of healing that I know personally that I've been through, and I've shared a lot on the daily tune-ins. I know that we are in this. um, I mean, it's a geomagnetic storm. There's a cannibal CME, which I talked about yesterday on yesterday's daily tune-in. um, there's a lot of energy, and I can feel it. Like, I've been jittery. Nighttime has been just full of sweats. So there's a lot going on. And I've had several conversations on our sharing circle in the Storehouse Social last night. We were talking about the intensity and all the different ways it's showing up. And it's showing up in our physical world, in our personal lives, in all different ways. For me, it's a discomfort of being in a space that no longer resonates with me. So it's manageable, and it's not major, and I'm so grateful for that because I can hold space for everyone who is still moving through a lot of density. So if you have things coming up in your world, if you have a health issue, if you have a relationship issue going on, if you have a job, something jobs, whatever the challenge is, whatever the loudness is in your world, the loudness is the thing that has your attention. It's the thing that you're wanting to shift. It's the thing that's triggering the densities to come up and out. And I want to remind you that these big waves of energy are coming to basically wash all of this stuff out. So every for those who are feeling a lot of anxiety, fear of any kind, worry, stress, grief, resentment, all of that is really, really loud in our world. I can see it. I got a text from one of you actually in Storehouse Social last night, and she's like, "I feel like everyone's about to snap," and it was the perfect words. There is something we can all sense. There's something. There's a shift, right? There's a shift um, that is happening. Why I say it's happening is because we keep saying there's something about to happen. There's something imminent. But I got a very big message last night that the ignition is on. This shift, um, this this change for you individually in this matter that might be loud for you right now in our global aspect. The um, there is an ignition switch that has been flipped that will cue the shift. That's happening. That has happened on an energetic level, and it will be coming into the physical world pretty soon. um, I'm trying to use my words very carefully here. So just know that this shift is manifesting now. It is. It's manifesting now. You can't see it yet. Not quite yet, but it's coming into your world. The loudness is kind of like how I see it is, like I've used this, a couple of you are going to recognize this because I use this in our conversations. Like in movies when a priest will throw holy water on like someone who's possessed, And when it hits, the demons inside are like, yeah, and they're screaming loudly because it's like painful. Ah. The demons of the world, okay? The enemy, the dementors, whether it's in your mind or which it is actually, because if you're seeing it out here, it's in your mind. The dementors are in your mind. Those demons are really loud right now. Therefore, you are projecting that and seeing it in your world. We are seeing it in our world, which means the loudness of destruction is in our favor, because what is so loud really is all of those demons, all of the beliefs, the patterns, the old thought patterns that are screaming to hang on in you, are doing their best to get your attention. What might not be getting your attention is the seed of growth that this is holding. The seed of growth has been planted in your spirit. And as that seed grows and it starts to expand energetically all through you, it's as if that holy water, so to speak, okay, energetically, is buttoned up against all of those thoughts, feelings, densities within your body, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And those demons are now being touched by the seed that is in your soul, that seed that is growing now. And that seed, the more it grows, the more strength it gets, the more it starts to take over its environment. And that taking over is actually the power of your spirit. That is much more powerful than the loudness of the demons. What needs to happen at this point is to shift your focus to the seed of growth. What is growing within you? What is the desire? What is the insight? What is the understanding of who you want to be, do, and have in this, once this loudness of destruction crumbles? Because it will. Once your power, the seed of your power, takes over, what I mean by that, and it's not an invasion of a takeover, like those demons take over. They invade your space. They invade your mind, whether it's someone out here, which is just a projection of what's in here. So we're bringing it all back. If you have loudness, you've got confrontation, you have something that's just triggering the shit out of you, go within. It sounds so cliche, but it's only being projected out there because it's within you. It's touching up against what's in you. Therefore, it's an invader. If it makes you feel like crap, it makes you worry, it makes you so afraid, it stresses you out, that it affects your body in some way, it is the invader. Therefore, what happens when there's an invader is there is a power higher than that, more powerful than that, in the best and highest good of you, that is wanting to take over. And we have to allow that power to take over, and that's the power of our spirit. So what has to happen to nurture the seed of growth is to go quiet, completely quiet. What that means, what that looks like on a practical level, I'm gonna take a sip of my water. Hold on one second. What that happens on, what that looks like on a practical level is literally cutting out all communication with that outside world, whether it be a person, maybe take some time off of a job to just make space. You're making space from the thing that's triggering you, the person, the place, the circumstance, whatever it is, making space so that you can go in, become a mystery to whatever is going on out here, become a mystery to people. Where did she go? What's happening? What's she doing? When you go within, you are then sitting in the silence of that power. And that power, as it continues to grow from the very tiny seed it was, and it starts to grow up and grow and touch and take over all of that demonic, I'm going to call it demonic, because all possession is of your spirit, of your body, is you allowing the demons of thought in. That's what possession is. You have been possessed. And you've been possessed through programming, through belief systems, through traumas, through wounds. Therefore, we are the only ones who can throw that holy water on the demon that is possessing our being and taking us out of the world of spirit and into the world of physicality, where everything is so dense, it's hard to escape it. But we're not escaping anything. We're just simply making space to allow the physical world to rearrange while we sit in the quietness of the growth stage, of the seed getting bigger and bigger. And the more attention, the more nurturing you give to the seed of your spirit, and you sit in meditation and you sit in prayer and you journal out, what do I want? I got a text from one of you actually the other day, and she's like, I have been in survival mode for so long. She said, but I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I want. And I said, then sit with just that question. That nurtures the spirit. So if your prayer, if you're so confused, you don't even know how to nurture the seed, just sit with the question of what is it that I want? I is the I am presence. Knowing that you're in a sacred space of quiet, you can sit and ask that spirit to come forth. What is it that I want? What does this next phase look like? What is going to make me just expand with power? What is going to give me strength? Ask these questions. You may not get the answer. You most likely are not going to get the answer right when you ask it. And at that point, when you are complete with your question, when you're complete with your prayer, when you're complete with your meditation, when you're complete with your quiet time, you stay in it by simply saying, what would I love to do right now? Like, it sounds so simplistic, and yet it is the way. We were made to be really, really simple beings. Simple meaning, I don't know, it's just every way I want to put this is words don't describe this. Words cannot describe the power of our spirit and our purpose. And when we come into this world, we are given a purpose, and all that purpose is passion. Being in the passion of life. What is it that brings you passion? After your prayer is complete, after your meditation is complete, and you ask, what would I love to do right now? If it's to get a bath, you go get that bath, because that's going to put you in more passion than it is going and doing something in the physical world that you should do. That completely eliminates the prayer, really. It's counterintuitive. You must be in a state of passion and flow to be able to nurture the seed of growth. You cannot be in a state of fight or flight or figuring out or fighting and expect your physical world to change. It's not. This is the time when the choice point is here. The choice point is, are you going to nurture the seed of growth with where you are going, what timeline you want to be on, or are you going to nurture the loudness and what is just happening? The loudness, the trigger is just the destruction of it, right? When you have a building and it explodes, and the destruction is loud, it's chaotic. But if you just stand and watch and be in peace and don't initiate, don't engage, allow yourself to be just an observer. No words are needed. No explanation is needed to watch something that's triggering, whether it's a person, a relationship, a circumstance, keeps coming at you, triggering you. But if you just stand as a calm observer and know that in the silence you are nurturing the seed of growth. Oh, what I'd love in this moment, what I would love in this moment is to ... whatever it is, journal that shit out, speak it out, get it out, let the universe hear, see, touch, feel what it is you want the seed of growth to grow into. And if you don't know, you simply, in your quiet time, ask your spirit, what is it that I want? What is it we want? What am I here to be, do, and have? It's so simplistic, and yet it is the way. It's how I've gotten to this place of peace that I don't really know what to do with, because I've never been here. But I know for the last decade, I've done nothing but nurture a dream, nurture a vision, all while navigating all the things, I've navigated, divorce, all the things. I mean, like everything, remarriage, moving. There's so much in there that there was so much destruction over the last decade that I've lived through. Destruction, financial destruction, mental destruction, emotional destruction, my physical world destructed. And then it started to just sprout. I met a beautiful man with a beautiful soul. We came together, started to grow. We nurtured it more and more. And then as we nurtured it, the perspective started to expand. What more do we want was the question Bud and I constantly ask. What more do we want than this life? There's still a lot in this life, in the suburban life, that really isn't for us. What more do we want? And we started asking that question and following it, but we had to do it mostly in silence because the loudness of the destruction was so loud. The loudness of the voices who all had thought they had a say in what we were doing. We just hermited in and we did our thing. And I sit here now and say, man, that was some hard shit. But I can sit in the energies that we are in full peace now. And from my experience, I can say that the thing that got me here was journaling out every damn feeling I have ever felt along this journey, and then following it up with, and this is how I love this to be. And then ending my journal sessions with the dream, the seed of the intention. It freaking works. I sit in prayer majority of my day. Doesn't look like this. I do a lot of that. Like I just, when I'm connected in, feels so good. This is my mantra. But sometimes my prayer is just sitting. Sometimes my prayer is literally saying out loud, saying, honey, I do believe that right now, in this moment, our seed is growing, it's manifesting, it's igniting, it's in a growth spurt. And when we look around, we are going to start seeing it. And I will tell you what, we have seen like weird magical stuff, even Bud has. And he's a believer, but he's a skeptic. I'm a full believer. So when magic happens, all he can do is just be like, damn it, babe. And I've had more damn it, babes from my husband in the last couple of weeks, because you can't make shit up when it starts to appear in your world and the seed of growth starts to make itself known. I am not at all where the big vision is, but I can see the growth spurt. I can see things happening in my world. And it's all because it's at this place of peace that got here from prayer and boundaries, quieting out anyone or anything, removing myself entirely from the situation. That's a scary thing to do because there's a lot in our world that says you can't do that. You can't just quit a job that's making you sick. You can. I've done that. Somehow it's always worked out. There's always support. And there's always the storehouse of good, which when you sit in connection with the storehouse is the goodness of God, universe, spirit, God, universe, spirit, Gus. When you sit in the storehouse of Gus and you give it your heart and you say, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Can you help me? You will always receive what you need in that moment. And sometimes your ego wants to say, I don't want this. But sometimes God sends you destruction because things have to be destructed. Is that a word? Things have to destruct before the seed can grow in and have the space to truly expand. So be patient in this time, hermit in, be quiet, take naps. If you have a job, you're like, oh yeah, it must be nice. Figure it out. Figure it out. I've had more people be like, it must be nice. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, because I work. I did the work. It must be nice to be able to just go off and have fun. You think that's what this is? You think that's what this is? I'm doing work, and I've done my work, and I continue to do my work. And the more work I do within here by hermiting in and by putting boundaries. I put literal like countries of boundaries so I could just be quiet and know what seeds needed to be nurtured because I was so lost in the loudness for so long. Not anymore. So if you are in that phase where it is really loud with destruction, do it a different way. Stop fighting it. Stop resisting it. Stop meeting it where it is. If something or someone is loud and you try to be loud and then you try to be louder and louder, it's just you're gonna end up with bloody fucking knuckles, right? You're gonna end up with bloody knuckles. So stop with the fighting and the resisting. Surrender into it. Set the boundaries. Turn off the phone. Block those who need to be freaking blocked. No matter what logical reason tells you that you can't. You can. We all can. We all have the ability to put up boundaries, and we have the ability, but not necessarily always the courage. This is where you gain courage to shut out the loudness, quiet it down, and start nurturing different seeds. Okay. I hope that there's so much, there's so much to this. There's so much depth that the words just don't do it justice. It's so hard to put words to or give it different words than we hear all the time. But at the same time, it's like, it's as simple as that. I have learned. If there is a problem, I shut it out, not close it off. I shut it out, get it out of my space so I can sit with it and pull myself up higher in prayer and in meditation so I have the eagle eye view of it. And usually when I do, I can see that the highest and best good for me is for this thing to destruct and move its own way out, and it always does. The physical world will change when your inner world changes. We hear it all the time, and yet that's exactly how it works. It's that simple. You don't have to change the physical world with your hands. You change it with your heart and your soul. And as it does that, you'll start to see little things that'll pop up, little synchronicities, and then the mind will start to be like, wow, okay, I get this, and it'll be on board, and it'll be your faithful servant. Okay, this is perfect. This is the card that came up. And what it says is multiple realities at once. And this is basically what we're talking about. Multiple realities are going on at once. What that means is you have your physical reality where the loudness of destruction is happening. And then you have your emotional reality, which is how are you feeling, checking in with that reality. You have your mental reality. What is your mental reality doing? What is your mind doing? Paying attention to that, because that thing, until it is your faithful servant, it is your ruler. It rules you. So if there's unhealthy thoughts, patterns, beliefs in your mental strata, that's all distortion. It's going to make the loudness louder. So you've got to really pay attention to what this is doing at all times. If it's telling you, well, we should probably do it this way, It's pulling from old patterns. It is time to do something different. If it tells you to do one thing, you do something else this time. You choose differently, because you will stay in the same reality if nothing changes. And the only way you can move into a higher reality is by shifting that which you do, that which you are, that which you be. So you have to be different in order to see it differently and project something differently out. And it usually starts with the mental strata. What the hell is this mind doing? Until it is your faithful servant, it will continue to rule your world, your reality. So make sure that you are paying attention to what all parts of you are doing today. Meaning, what is the mind running? What programs is it running? Pay attention. How are you feeling with those programs? How you tune into the mental strata is first going into the emotional strata. How am I feeling? I feel like crap. What am I feeling like crap about? Is my body okay? Body hurts. All right, let's go into the mental. What is my body telling me about any pain that's going? What's my mind telling me about any pain that's going on in my physical world? Do I feel stressed out? What's stressing me out? Okay, why am I feeling heavy? What's going on? What's triggering me? The mind then go back to the mind. What's the mind telling me about this thing, this person? Oh, okay. How can I change that? You don't know? You go into silence and just simply say, how do I make a different choice? Show me how to make a different choice. Allow this time to be where you build trust and relationship with your guides, with your team, with your angels, whatever resonates with you, whatever you want to call it, galactics, all of them. I call them all in because I believe it in all, and I believe that there are all beings of a higher order that know much more about my world than I do. So I always, I mean, like when I say always, like many times a day, do I say, I have no idea what's happening here. Can you just show me a little something? Can you guide me here? I always get guidance, y'all, and it's usually in a fun and imaginable and not imaginable. It's usually in a fun and magical way. So allow yourself to tune out of the loudness of whatever destruction is happening. It's in your highest and best good. I promise you, it wouldn't be falling out of your world if it was there to support you. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Nothing self destructs that is healthy. Sit with that. It's a humbling thing. A marriage doesn't self destruct if it's healthy. Let it go. A job doesn't stress you out if it's healthy. And I know the programming around but money and the things, but I will tell you from someone who has not been able to sit in a job any longer than her spirit will let her, and it's usually not that long. When I've had unhealthy jobs, which is pretty much majority of them, I have always come to a point where I'm like, I on the spot will go give my notice, because if it's not healthy, I don't want it. And money didn't, I wasn't afraid of it. Oh, my son is calling. I'm going to, my son is calling. I'm going to go. I love you all. Be in the quiet and allow the seed to grow. So much love to you all.